Hello YouTube, it is Duddits here, and I'm going to be bringing you my Prank Kids deck profile for the January 2021 ban list. Sorry. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and just hop right into this. As you may all know, Prank Kids came out in Hidden Summoners, I'd want to say 3 years ago now, something like that. They're pretty much a deck that's all about doing shenanigans on like both players' turns. So we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna just get to the explanation. So we're gonna be running 3 copies of each of the kids. We're gonna be running 3 Dropsies, 3 Fancies, 3 Roxies, and 3 Lampsies. What each of these cards do is, Dropsies is whenever it's sent to the graveyard for the summon of a Link or Fusion Prank Kids, you get to gain 1,000 life points, and then you get to special summon a Prank Kid monster from your deck or hand in defense position, other than itself. Sorry. Prank Kid's Fancies is your Foolish Burial of the deck. It lets you just send away any Prank Kid card from the deck to the grave. So it also, after it's sent, you get to special summon, obviously, another Prank Kid. They all share that same ability that they get to do some sort of shenanigans whenever they're sent from the field to graveyard, or from the hand or field to the graveyard, as material for the fusion or link summon of a Prank Kids card. So Roxy's a really good card. It resets your hand, helps you get stuff out of them by banishing 1 card from your hand, drawing a card. And then Lampsies burns your opponents for 500. So these 2 are like the utmost important, especially if you're trying to play into time. This is just so you have a better hand advantage, and then this is just for sending off important Prank Kid cards that you would want in the graveyard to get off of your combos, like for your for your Link cards. Next up, it's just going to be a hand trap lineup. We're running 2 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 2 copies of Effect Failure, and then we're running the Gamma package, which is 3 Cyframe Gear Gammas and 1 driver. So with the Ash Blossoms, obviously they're very standard in any deck anymore. Especially now, hand traps are becoming more of a thing, seeing more popularity. Seeing as since Called by the Grave is now limited to 1, there's really not a lot of limiting for worry of that. Effect Failure is kind of so-so right now, especially with like Virtual Worlds and Dryatrons running around. This card and Imperm aren't seeing as much play, but the cards that are seeing more play, which I'm probably going to end up putting into the deck, are Skullmeisters and Ghost Bells, just to just to shut down a lot of the graveyard stuff. And like DD Crows is also another good option. It's kind of weird to think that Imperm isn't as impactful as it once was before, but in this format where everything is just like, sure, whatever, they don't care, you gotta have more hand traps that do more to things like the Ashes and the Gammas. The Gammas is just really nice, especially if you don't have any monsters on the field, and like they try to Ash your whatever. I can't really think of something right now that has like interaction with the Cyframes. So that's going to take care of the monster lineup. We're going to go right into spells. I know this is going to be pretty degenerate, but it's like a good win con, and it's super, super hilarious. So 3 copies of Mystic Mine. So there's like this little combo that you can do with Mystic Mine in this deck. You can combo loop, well, not really combo loop, but you can loop your Prank Kid's Rocket Ride to just continuously attack for 1,000 while Mystic Mine sits up on the board. And even if your opponent ends up getting a monster on their field too, you can just tribute off your Rocket Ride to grab 2 other Prank Kids to go into a Dodo. And then you could use Dodo's effect to grab whatever you need, and then distribute your Dodo to grab back materials for whatever. And then you can just continuously do it all over again just by recycling back your Rocket Ride and your Dodo, which is kind of hilarious because it's just, you're going to end up poking your opponent for 1,000 plus, you know, the 2 materials, obviously going to be the Dropsies and Lampsies. just so you can whittle down your opponent even quicker, because poking them for 1,000 direct each turn really isn't that great. Then we're running 3 copies of Polymerization. This card's really nice. It doesn't have the restrictions of the Prank Kids fusion, the Pandemonium. So you do want to see this Polymerization. I see a lot of players that are running different variants of Prank Kids where they're just refusing to run the Polymerization altogether, and they're just running the Pandemonium, which I don't understand. Polymerization is just another fusion spell to help you get into your plays quicker. So you want to maximize out on all fusion spells that you can, like, possibly. The only card I'm not running in this is Thunder Dragon Fusion. There is a card in my deck that I'm probably going to cut out for the Thunder Dragon Fusion, since I have a free flex spot in my extra deck for the Predaplant Verte Anaconda. I would really like to be able to try out the Dragoon engines with this Prank Kids build, but like, I don't see it being that great, because at that point I would have to either make up my decision between locking myself into Prank Kid monsters specifically that turn, or just going into Dragoons and not really having much of a plays, which is not really that great. That, and I don't want to have to decide between using Thunder Dragon Fusion and Red Eyes Fusion to go into like 2 different things. Probably the smarter idea here will be end up running the Thunder Dragon Fusion just to get into Battle Butler, especially if you get Nibiru'd. It's a good way to play around getting nibbed, which really kills this deck. Then we're running 2 copies of Prank Kids Place. This card, it's really good. It's one of your play starters, especially if you don't see one of your Prank Kid monsters, which you honestly shouldn't, because you run 3 copies of each. So that's 16 cards in a 40 card deck. Out of that, you should at least be able to open up with 1 or 2 Prank Kids. If not, then you could just use your place to activate, to search out whatever Prank Kid card you want. It's really nice too, because it can chain block. So when a Link monster, once per turn, if you fusion summon a Prank Kids fusion monster from your extra deck, obviously, except during the damage step. Bear with me, guys, here. I promise I can English. All your monsters gain 500 attack, and if you link summon a Prank Kids monster, all your opponent's monsters lose 500 attack. So, like, going first with this place isn't that great, because you can't really chain block anything since your opponents don't have any monsters on their field. So having this going second is nice, especially if you can get your fusions out, because then, like, you have a bunch of chain blocks, so you can resolve your pranks in the graveyard without having any worry, unless, you know, they hit you with an Imperm or a Veiler, which then it's just like rip. Then, as I was saying earlier, we're running 2 copies of the Prank Kids Pandemonium. This card is absolutely amazing. Sad part is you can only activate it during the main phase of your turn. Well, not of your turn, but you can only activate it during the main phase of the turn, and it ends up locking you into Prank Kid monsters for the rest of the turn after it resolves. So, like, that's not too much of an issue, especially if you're going first, because you're just going to be wanting to do your Prank Kids plays. But as I said earlier, you want to be able to maximize out on all of your Prank Kid not all of your Prank Kid fusions, but you want to be able to maximize out on all of your Prank Kids cards, just so you have a way into all of your combo pieces. Playing this at 2 is not bad, because it's searchable off of your Dodo Bird, and you can also mill it off of your Prank Kid Fancies to the graveyard. So either way, you're going to see this card. So, like, running it at 2 is fine. Running it at 3 is good too, because, like, you know, you could either open up with the Pandemonium or Poly and still be able to get to your plays. So maximizing out is great. But yeah, next cards, as I was saying earlier, since it's more of a graveyard-centric format right now, and everything, you want to be able to just do some stuff. We're running 2 copies of Silent Graveyard. So you can discard 1 card, and effects that are activated in the graveyard of this turn are negated. So, like, you can activate this on, obviously, your opponent's turn to shut off their graveyard. It won't really hurt you too much, because, like, you'll already have all of your Prank Kid cards in your hand or on the field. And, like, yeah, it's going to suck for the turn not being able to resolve them, but, like, depending on what your matchups are, this could be, like, really good, especially in the mirror with Prank Kids. You can just, you know, have this set flip it and discard whatever, shut off all graveyard effects for that turn, so they can't activate any of their stuff for their prank kids. So it's really great. Can't really think of any other graveyard decks this format off the top of my head. So we're gonna continue on. We're running 2 copies of Prank Kids Pranks. This card is really, really good. A lot of players are running this at 1. I don't really agree with that because losing this card by like a Cosmic is absolutely the worst, because this card right here just shuffles back all of your Prank Kid cards to your deck. So it's literally like a Pot of Avarice, but you're only shuffling in 3 and drawing 1. But on top of it being able to recycle back all of your Prank Kid cards, you're also going to be able to use its first effect to discard a Prank Kids card, and then you get to special summon a Prank Kids token. So even if you don't open up with a Prank Kids monster, you can at least go into like a Meow Meow Mew using the token. Yeah, you won't really plus off of anything, but it's better than not having anything on the field at all, I guess. Then we're running 1 copy of Called by the Grave. As I said earlier, the card got hit on the ban list recently, so it's now down to 1. So this is why we're seeing a lot of hand traps running rampant in this format. On top of that, we're going to be running 1 copy of Instant Fusion. This card was at 3, and it was really, really great in Prank Kids because it just started up your engine. But now it doesn't really matter that it's at 1 because we got our Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew, which I'll get into later. So seeing Meow Meow Mew being able to have that card now in the deck makes having 1 Instant Fusion not such a bad thing anymore. Then we're running 1 copy of Set Rotation, so we can, you know, set our Mystic Mine on our opponent's turn so they can't play. Playing 1 copy of Terraforming just so we can search out our field spells, because we want to be able to have access to, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think 6 copies of field spells here, of any field spell, because we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 7 copies of whatever field spell we want. So we have the Terraforming, we have the Set Rotations, we have the Prank Kids Place, the Prank Kids Place, whatever you want to have. It's accessible now. I mean, obviously it was accessible before, but you now have 7 copies of whatever field spell you want, which is really, really good. And then for the last lineup is going to be the trap cards. So we're running 1 copy of Prank Kids Plan and 1 copy of Bottomless Trap Hole. This was kind of just a fill-in slot because I, for some reason, had a brain fart and I just could not think what the last card should be in the deck. But now, as I'm been sitting here thinking about it, it's obviously going to end up being Thunder Dragon Fusion. Or I would say running a 2nd copy of Prank Kids Plan would be nice. I see a lot of players that do run Prank Kids Planet too, which I wholeheartedly agree with, because this card's like super good. You want to be able to have 1 in the deck still, but another one to be able to discard in the grave so you can banish to get everything back. So essentially, what this card ends up doing for you is, in the graveyard, if your opponent declares an attack, you can banish the plan to shuffle back all of your Prank Kids cards from your graveyard into your deck. And they lose 100 attack for each Prank Kid. They lose 100 attack for each Prank Kid card sent back to the deck this way. It's nice just because that way you can return back all of your monsters and all of your spells and whatnot. But yeah, so running 2 is nice. I'm just sticking with the 1 for now. I mean, I don't ever use its on-field effect where it lets you link summon. I don't know, for some reason I just can't get around to do it. I like it in the graveyard. And then obviously Bottomless Trap Hole is going to be the Thunder Dragon Fusion, just so we can recur back our stuff if we get Nibiru. I see another option that I'm thinking that I would probably consider playing in here would be Torrential Tribute, just because a lot of people are playing that card this format, and it's starting to see a lot of play, and it's just a really good board wipe. But that's it for the main deck, so we're going to go ahead and jump right into the extra deck here. And then probably after this profile is over, I'll give you guys a quick, I'll do like a couple hands to see what we can do with our hand, and, you know, we'll try to play around whatever we can. So anyways, starting out with our extra deck is the newly made card Prank Kids Meow Meow Mew. So This card is a godsend to the Prank Kids deck because now it literally turns all of our Prank Kid monsters into 1-card starters into any combo that we want. So with Prank Kids Meow Meow, if it's in the graveyard during your opponent's turn, if you were to use the effect of a Prank Kids card to tribute, you can banish this card instead as the cost for the tribute. So that way, so now it ends up turning your Battle Butler into a double Raigeki. And it's just absolutely insane because, I mean, having just a Raigeki in general for a monster is great, but now being able to use it twice in a turn just because of Meow Meow Mew, it's great. That follow-up, not really follow-up, but that interaction is crazy. That's pretty standard. A lot of players run this at 2 copies, because by the time that you go through both of your copies, you should already have a game. But I like having a third one just as security, just to make some more combos. Then we're running the standard copies of two copies of Prank Kids Dodo Doodle Doo. I'm just gonna call him Dodo Bird. So what this card does is, when it's link summoned, you get to add any Prank Kids spell or trap from your deck to your hand, and then you contribute this card to target 2 non-link Prank Kid monsters with different names from your graveyard and add them back to your hand. So this, like I said earlier, this card right here just searches out your Prank Kids Pandemonium to your hand, which is like great. And you want to be able to chain block this because you want to search for your Prank Kids fusion spell just so you can continue on with your plays. So like you're gonna want to go chain link 1 Dodo and like chain link 2 whatever's in your graveyard for whatever prank is, or I mean, depending on what the turn is, you can go chain link 1 Dodo Bird, chain link 2 pranks, and then like chain link 3 the place, just so you can guarantee that you're going to get your monster summoned plus this, unless, you know, of course they have the Imperm or the Effect Veiler, which is really, really crappy. Then we're running 1 copy of Bow Wow Bark. A lot of people run this at 2, but like I said before, with the same situation with Meow Meow Mew, by the time that you need to get into the second one, you should already have the game. And you can always recur this back off of your Rocket Ride or your Prank Kids Pranks. Or your Weather Washer. And then running 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn and 1 copy of Prank Kids Rip Roar and Roaster. So everybody knows what Unicorn does. It just bounces stuff back to the hand. Prank Kids Rip Roar and Roaster, what this card does is it is a Harpy's Feather Duster. So again, same concept as Battle Butler with Meow Meow Mew. This now becomes a double Feather Duster and in a single turn, which is really nice. I know that I've seen a combo for the deck where you can end on your Rip Roar and Roaster plus the Battle Butler, and like it's just crazy because you have the option to go double Raigeki or Raigeki and a double Feather Duster. It just really depends on the matchups that you're put up against, but like Meow Meow Mew just made this deck so much better than I could have ever expected it to be. Like I knew this deck was always going to be like a super, super good deck. It just needed that one single card to help push it, which was the Slink one. So we're going to go with the Fusion. So we're running 2 copies of Prank Kids Rocket Ride. So earlier I was talking about the interactions with this card and Mystic Mine with what you can do is, so we'll just say, like I said, we'll have Rocket Ride on our field, and we'll have the Mystic Mine set to our field, and then we'll just say we'll have our Prank Kids Pranks activated on the field already. And our graveyard will already be stacked full of Prank Kids cards. So what you can do is, if your opponent already controls a monster, that's fine, because then you can still activate this effect. You can have as attack, enter battle phase, poke them for, 1,000, go to your main phase 2, tribute this off to special summon back 2 Prank Kids monsters from your graveyard. It doesn't really matter what 2. We'll just say, for instance, because they're probably already going to be in your graveyard, we'll just say we'll special summon back these 2, the fire and the water. So what you can do here with these 2 is you can then link these 2 away to go into your Dodo Bird, and then with your Dodo Bird on the field, you can use this effect to search out your Prank Kids Pandemonium. So there's your Pandemonium there. And then from here on, you can go tribute the Dodo Bird. And then you can grab back your 2 prank kids that were in graveyard. Because you don't want to special summon the prank kid monsters. You just want to be able to use their effects to burn and gain. So that way you can have an upper hand for time. And you can just continuously whittle them down with the 500 plus the 1,000 every turn. So you can add these back to your hand. Set this, and then whatever else you have in your graveyard, you can use the effects of this, and then just shuffle them back into your extra deck, and then you get a free draw. So it doesn't really matter. So we'll just use the pranks as our plus whatever with the 2 on our hand. So then now your opponent's gonna end up passing their turn. So what you can do here is then activate your Pandemonium, fuse these 2 together to go into your Rocket Ride again, and then you could just burn, gain, and then whenever you know it's your turn again, you can just poke them for 1,000, use effect, special back those 2, link them off into Dodo, get another Pandemonium to your hand, and then tribute off your Dodo, grab these back, and then you'll have 3 cards again in your graveyard to shuffle back in. So it's going to be a continuous loop, but I'm gonna stop rambling on about the loop, and I'm just going to continue on with this deck profile so I can get to you guys, what you came here for to see. But yeah, so 2 copies of the Rocket Ride. It's really great, and it's an instant fusion target. So again, really good. There's the other Dodo Bird. 1 copy of Weather Washer. This card right here. I don't ever go into this card. If I do, it's usually a last resort, but you can use this to special summon back 2 of your linked monsters, and they can't be destroyed by battle this turn. So using your Weather Washer and your Bow Wow Bark in the same turn, all of your prank kid cards are now not only protected from battle, but they're also protected from card destruction off of these 2, which are really great. It's just sad. It's not really bad, but like I wish that it was, all the prank kids monsters were a quick effect instead of just the Bow Wow and the Weather Washer. But I mean, that's fine because you can still do your stuff during your opponent's turn. And then we're running double copies of Battle Butler in our deck. This is the card that just does double Raigeki. And then if this card gets destroyed by card effect, you get the special summon back 1 non-fusion prank kids monster in your graveyard. So like that effect really never ever comes up. But if it does, I mean, you're just free to grab whatever prank kids links that you want from your grave. And then last card is going to be totally awesome. This card, there's like ways that you can get into this, so you can play around like Nibiru's and stuff like that. But yeah, so that's like a 14 card extra deck, and I'm thinking the last card in the deck is going to end up just being Predaplant, Verte, and Deconda, just so I can have plays around the Nibiru. But anyways, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into this test handing stuff. So give me 1 quick second, guys, and we'll get back to this. Alright, so we're back now. With all the shuffling and whatnot, we're just going to go ahead and cut the deck and do one more quick shuffle. See what we can do. Hopefully we can do like a full combo where I can show you guys the power of like Meow Meow Mew. So this should be good. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and draw our 5. So we're going to go draw 1, okay, 2, there, that's 3, 4, 5. You kind of hate to see opening up double Pandemonium, but this just means you don't have to search it out now with your Dodo Bird, and you can just search your Prank Kids pranks so you have a way of recycling all your stuff. So anyways, what we're going to do here is, like, it's great because you opened up with these 2. So what we could actually end up doing here is, instead of doing like the standard combo, we could actually go Prank Kids Pandemonium to go into our copy of not Battle Butler, but Rocket Ride, and then we could also, but then we are also locked out of our totally awesome plays, so never mind. I don't think we're gonna go down this route. So I'm just gonna show you guys like a standard play, and then we'll try to do some more advanced stuff if we have the time for it. So what we're gonna do is start off by summoning our Prank Kids Lampsies to the field. From there, you're gonna take your Lampsies, you're gonna link it away, and we're gonna go straight to our Meow Meow Mew, and that's gonna start our chain. So we're gonna activate the effect of our Lampsies, and that's gonna get us a burn for 500 on our opponent, and we get to special summon any Prank Kids monster. So what we're gonna do here is we could even go for our Roxy's already to get a free draw and a special summon, so we have another card in our hand. I think that's what we'll do. So we're gonna go ahead and link our Meow Meow Mew away and our Roxy's to go into our Dodo Bird. So Dodo Bird's going to go. So we're going to go to chain 1 Dodo Bird and chain 2 Roxy's. So since, you know, obviously, like I said, we play 3 copies of a lot of our pranks in the deck. So we're going to go ahead and banish our water. We're going to go ahead and draw 1. That's a polymerization. You just love to see it. That would have been great to see. So then we get the special summon a Prank Kids monster off of the Roxy's since it resolved. And we're going to go ahead and summon our copy of Prank Kids Fancies to the field, and then after that resolves, our Dodo Bird's going to go ahead and search us out our Prank Kids Pranks to our hand, which is really nice to do. I'm probably not going to make this video too much longer, guys, so we're just going to try to go ahead and finish up with this. Now you have options here. You could either go ahead and use Prank Kids Pandemonium to just fuse these two together, or just hold them both in your hand and just use the poly, because it'll still do the same. So we're going to use our polymerization, and we're going to fuse these two together. And then from there, we're going to go into our rocket ride. So there's our rocket ride. And we're also just going to assume that we're just not playing around Nibiru, because like we'll just say our opponent doesn't have Nibiru in our deck. So with this, we're going to go chain link 1 Fancies, chain link 2 this. So this is going to have his attack, and then we're going to use Fancy's effect to mill. So we can mill our Prank Kids Place to our graveyard, so we can have it in our hands, or we can mill the trap card. But I don't think we're going to mill the trap. We'll just hold on to it in the deck, and we'll just mill it the second time around whenever we hit it off with our Butler. So then from here, we're going to go ahead and mill this, and then we're special summoning. We haven't special summoned the water yet, so we have a water to use. So we're going to go water. And then from here, we're going to use the effect to tribute off the rocket ride. And then we're going to bring back our Dodo Bird. And it doesn't really matter which Prank Kids we use from here. So we're going to banish some of that. Then we're going to go ahead and link these two off. And we're going to go into our Bow Wow Bark. And so now that'll trigger off the effect of our water. So we'll go up by 1,000 life points. And then that'll let us special summon another Prank Kids. I think what we'll do is we'll just summon out our little green friend here. And then we'll tribute off our Dodo Bird. And then our Dodo Bird will grab us back our Place. And then we can grab our water to our hands. And then now we still have all this still in our hands. So what we could do here is we can go Place, which is not fine. And then, oh boy, there's a rip in my sleeve up there. And then we can go activate the pranks, and then we can set that. And then during our end phase, we can use the effects of pranks, and we can shuffle back in a Dodo, that. Now we need the fire, because that's the one we need in our, and then we can shuffle back that. And then it lets us draw a card. Once that gets all taken care of. Yeah. We'll go ahead and draw a card off of that during end phase, which is another Roxy's. I mean, it's not something you want to see. So then, now we end up passing our turn, and then we're going to go ahead and let our opponent do their thing. And then we're going to use Bow Wow Bark's effect to trigger. We're going to chain the tribute for cost. And then we're going to grab back our Lampsies and our Rocket Ride. And this is like how the Prank Kids work. They all just recur themselves back from the graveyard. It's kind of like a grind game. And like the grind game really comes into play once like whenever you have your kids pranks on the field, because that just lets you get back more material. Anyways, then we're gonna go ahead and our opponent's gonna just activate their effect, and from here we'll just chain the Pandemonium and we'll fuse all 3 of them from our hands. So then that will get us our Butler. We'll put our Butler to the fence just because we don't want to worry about lightning storms and stuff. But by this point in time, lightning storms not even really much of a thing. So then we're just gonna do our chains. We're gonna have chain links, 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then we can chain link 5. Banish the Meow Meow to Raigeki their board, and then we're still gonna end up on the board with we're still gonna be able to end on the field with 4 cards. So that's really great. Plus, we're going to have life point advantage. And then we can pitch our trap card into the graveyard with that. But yeah. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this. I really hope you enjoyed this profile. This deck is absolutely, like, it is still such a fun deck to play, even though it's probably fallen off of the radar yet again because of Virtual Worlds and, like, Dryatron and everything. And everybody just wants to play the heck out of those. But anyways, yeah, guys.